Just tell me when.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. I was talking about how the atoms and molecules and other subatomic particles are made up of empty space. As far as I know,
Right.
this is the best of my understanding. They're made up of empty space. Like an atom is made of, I think it's like neutrons, protons, and electrons.
Right.
And those are like, I think the electrons and I can't remember which circle's which. I mean, it doesn't really matter, but most of it is empty space. So, and then the smaller particles are made up of mostly empty space. And there's even particles that are like really, really, really small that they see popping into and out of existence, and they don't know exactly how or why it happens, and they don't. I mean, that's like I don't know if it's called the quantum level. I'm not into like science. That's not my thing, but
There is actually something even smaller than the quantum uh, level, but I
really
can't. Yeah, but I can't remember what it's called. I read about it a while back.
fascinating. I wouldn't be surprised if the smallest particles were made up mostly of empty space.
Mm-hmm.
So most of the universe is actually empty space.
Yeah.
And then I was talking about how the universe is made up of sound.
Yep.
And of course, that makes sense because YHWH spoke creation into existence. So I think that the universe is made up of the voice of the Creator.
Yes, it's his thoughts and his voice.
Right. And then I was talking about how I've heard that if you start at whatever point in the universe, if you go in a straight line and never stop and never deviate from that line and never curve, eventually you would come back to the place you started from. Which I think indicates that the universe is a closed system.
It's a closed system.
Yeah, and I think there's other things that indicate it too. They talk about how the universe is expanding. I think it could only expand if it was a closed system.
It's going to explode.
Yeah, I don't know. But, well, I don't
And
think
we'll
so.
have the Big Bang.
Yeah. But the universe is a closed system. And then I was talking about how, what was I saying?
About
the kingdom of heaven.
Yeah, the kingdom of heaven. And
Yeah, the kingdom of heaven is actually a synonym for the kingdom of YHWH, the kingdom of the Creator. And heaven is a synonym, used as a synonym for the Creator. Now, I think that heaven actually is the Creator. I don't think heaven is as much about a place as it is YHWH, the being, the ultimate being.
So even with the description of heaven that's in the scriptures, where there is fire running from underneath his throne, or heaven, and then it also mentions several colors like sapphire and gold and
Right.
and amethyst and some other colors. So all that is actually the Creator.
Is it okay if I comment on that in a moment?
Sure.
Okay. And I've mentioned in other videos how I believe that the universe is actually the womb of the Creator.
Yeah.
It's his what's the word I want to use? His nursery for his children. It's his womb where he's growing us. We're growing until we're going to be born. When we die and we come to life again, when we die, it's like we're going to sleep. I think it could be the final sleep, because we've been going to sleep night after night after night throughout our lives. And death will be the final sleep. We'll go to sleep one last time. And then when we wake up, we'll wake up into a new reality, Our bodies will be changed. We'll be changed. We'll be born into the new reality. Right now, it's pre-birth. We're in pre-birth right now. Um,
Yeah.
so when we'll be born into the new reality. Um, oh, you were asking me. Oh, yeah, you were asking me about the things about that it describes about heaven.
Right.
So I think that all of this universe is. I think that Yiwei, he is a being, he is a mind, but he is also what consists of outside of this universe. If you were able to go outside of this universe, you would be in Yiwei.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that he's, in a way, he's a place, but in a way, I don't know exactly how that works out. I'm just going on what I know intuitively right now. I'm somewhat speculating.
Right.
These are just thoughts, but this is the way it looks as far as I can think of it. That he is outside of this universe, and if you were to go outside of this universe, you would be in him. And I was also saying that everything is Yiwei. Wait, Yiwei is everything, but everything is not Yiwei. Because he is
Because out of him.
yeah, he since the universe is his womb, that's part of him. But like I see a tree outside my window. I'm not going to say the tree is Yiwei. I'll say that Yiwei encapsulates the tree. The tree is part of Yiwei because it's his thoughts and his voice.
Right.
But the tree isn't Yiwei himself because he's much greater than that.
Correct.
And I think it's the same kind of thing with the descriptions of heaven. I think that those are his thoughts. I think that we are his thoughts, his words and his thoughts. So, like, I feel myself and I feel solid, but I don't think solid is the same way as I used to understand it. I think that solid is actually just the thoughts and the words of Yiwei.
Oh my
And I think
gosh.
it's the same kind of thing with the descriptions of heaven in Scripture.
Oh my
I
gosh.
think that those are the thoughts
That's so
and
profound.
the voice of Yiwei. Pardon?
So profound.
Yeah, I know. It's mind blowing to me.
Say that
Um,
again about being sound.
well, I think
That
that like
that everything that is solid is actually not solid, but it's a sound.
it's sound. It's solid to us, but in reality, it's Yiwei's voice and his thoughts,
Wow.
and that's all that everything is.
Yeah.
It's the Creator's voice and his thoughts, and I think it's the same thing with heaven. I mean, even if like I think it talks about people like Shaul, Paul. It talks about him going to the third heaven, which I think is where Yiwei is. I think he could have physically gone there, but even if he did, even if he went physically there, like we're physically here, I think it would be the same thing as what I'm talking about. The only place that he would be is in Yiwei's thoughts and his voice.
Okay.
I think that's all the reality that exists, actually,
Yes. Yes.
is the voice of Yiwei and the thoughts of Yiwei.
Right.
And that's all that anything is. So even if he went to heaven, he would be in the thoughts of Yiwei. And he would be in Yiwei just like we're in Yiwei now, even though it would be a different type of being in Yiwei, because if he's not in this universe, then he's in Yiwei in a whole different way, it seems like to me.
Yeah. Right.
But the reality would be that he would still be in Yiwei. And like Yohanan or John in Revelation, that he sees Revelation. I don't know if he went to a different place as he was seeing this or what. But if he did, it would be the same thing. And everything that he was seeing would be the thoughts of Yiwei.
Well, yeah, and especially when John was seeing the future.
Right. Yeah, if he's seeing the future, all he's seeing is the thoughts of Yiwei. But it could be real for him to experience it in the future, because Yue has, like, all of our reality right now is the thoughts of Yue. Yeah. So what I'm seeing and experiencing is the thoughts of Yue. And Yue has not decided for me to experience the future right now.
Right.
He's decided for me to experience the present right now. His present thought, the thoughts he has of my present, is what he's decided for me to experience right now. But if he were to decide for me to experience the future, but still come back to this present as the rest of my life, then that's what I would experience.
Right.
But all of it would be the thoughts of Yue.
Correct. Yes.
So it would be as real as he decided to make it. So
right.
There wouldn't be an unreality to it, I don't think, unless he decided to make it that way. But it seems like he would decide to make it real, and just, if he were to have me experience the future, like he had Yohanan or John experience the future, it would be real for me for the amount of time that he had for me to experience it, and then he would put me back in this life, I would imagine,
Yeah, right.
So basically, Yue is the only reality there is, and the universe is a womb. The universe is like a nursery where he's growing his children and maturing his children until the point where they have a final sleep, until they wake up into the new life, the real life. And
then even that's just still going to be the Creator's thoughts and sound.
I imagine so, but I don't know for sure. But I would imagine so. I don't understand how anything could be possibly different than that.
Right.
Although I think that since the Creator, people say God, and they say, people talk about becoming God or becoming a God. And in a way that almost is a misnomer. It's almost nonsense, because the word for God comes from the word, in Greek it's theos, and in Hebrew it's Elohim. Elohim just means either powerful authorities or very powerful authority.
Right.
And in the case of Yue, it's used in the plural of quality, not quantity, but quality. And it's talking about how he's a very, very powerful authority. He's the ultimate powerful authority. So if we become, like if I become a god or you become a god, all that means is you're becoming a powerful authority.
Correct.
It doesn't mean that you're the ultimate powerful authority. It just means you're becoming a powerful authority. But actually, right now, you're already a powerful authority.
Mm-hmm.
And Yue talks about how he calls rulers of Israel, he calls them Elohim, powerful authorities. But in English, he calls them gods. Well, it doesn't mean he's calling them deity like he's deity.
Right.
It just means he's calling them powerful authorities. He's made of, like, we have authority over the animals and over the trees and the earth, the ground and stuff
what
like
about
that.
The animals and the insects? They have authorities and subjects within themselves.
Well, actually, the animals seem to have, it seems like to me, like, earlier when I took my dog out to go potty, he peed on a tree. He has authority over that tree.
Yes.
The tree can't stop him from peeing on it.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? So he has authority over that tree. Now, of course, he's on a leash, so I have authority over him, and I'm letting him pee on the tree, so I have authority over the tree and the dog.
Oh, wow.
But he has authority over the tree. He can pee on the tree,
Right.
So that seems to me to be an authority. So he's got his own, the animals seem to have their own authority.
Yep.
And then of course you could say, well, what authority does a tree have? And you can go into how nature works and how, we're interdependent. Like, I need to eat food, and food for me consists of plants and animals. So I'm dependent on them. And then, of course, I'm dependent on the oxygen that the plants produce.
Yep.
And, there's all the interworking in nature, but I still have authority over these things. Now, of course, other people have authority over me in this life right now because YHWH's put them in that position.
Yeah.
But they're actually, YHWH serves us, and the people that are in authority over me serve me, and I serve other people. So everybody is being a servant in one way or another, even the Creator himself.
Yes.
So everybody's serving. So just because somebody's in authority doesn't mean they're not serving. Everybody's serving.
Yeah, that's true.
That's just fascinating.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're in the Creator. We're in the Creator. So I don't know if when we go into the next life, I don't know how that's going to work. I really don't. I don't know if he's going to... It says that we're going to be like him, I think, unless it's talking about we're going to be like Yeshua. I haven't read that for a while, so I can't remember for sure.
We'll be like-minded.
But we're gonna be like him. But I think, and Yeshua is the image of the Creator, right?
Yeah.
And we're going to be like Yeshua. We're getting formed into the image of Yeshua. And if we're formed into the image of Yeshua, then we're also going to be in the image of the Creator. So I think that when it talks about like becoming a god, what that really means is that having the same characteristics as the Creator. And what are his characteristics? His Torah, his instructions, his characteristics of don't murder, don't steal, don't lie, don't violate your covenant with your mate, which is adultery. So all of these things, but he'll always be ultimate.
But the Torah only applies in this time, because after there is no more death and there is no more sin, then there is no more law.
Well, I think everyone will be according to Torah.
Right.
Because when it says don't murder, well, if nobody murders, if nobody's going to murder, if murder is an impossibility, if murder is a thing of the past, then that instruction is no longer needed because it's fulfilled, because everybody's living that way.
Right, and it won't even be mentioned. You shall not murder, you shall not steal, you shall not commit adultery.
So what the Torah really is about, the foundation of the Torah, which is the foundation of YHWH himself, is love. So if everybody's operating according to love, then that's the fulfillment of the Torah. That's the Torah come true. That's life.
Yeah.
If it's all life and love and truth and goodness, then the Torah will be, the instructions of don't murder won't be needed, but the instruction of don't murder, what it really means is life and love. Because if no one's murdering and no one's being cruel to each other, then everybody's operating in love and life. And that's fulfillment of Torah.
It's fulfillment of the Creator.
Yeah, yes.
Because you have to take it to the final authority. The Torah is just instructions that are written for man, since the Creator is not wanting to have physical contact with each one of us at this time, so he had to put it in writing.
Well, it's instructions and it's teaching.
Yeah.
Like when you teach your child. Now, of course, it's slightly different because our relationship with the Creator is different than. But it's like a mirror. Your relationship with your child is like a mirror of the Creator's relationship with us. So when you instruct and teach your child, the whole purpose of those instructions is to mature them, for them to grow and mature, to where your instruction of I'm trying to think of an instruction a parent gives. Look both ways when you cross the street.
Yeah.
Well, when they're mature, they don't need that instruction anymore because they know to do that.
Yeah.
And same with the instructions that Yue gives when he says don't murder. When we've matured and there is no more murder, that instruction won't be needed because it's fulfilled.
Yep. That's correct.
That's
Amazing.
just awesome. It's just
Yes.
the whole thing is just awesome,
Yes. Yes, it is.
phenomenal. I hope I'm trying to remember if I'm forgetting anything. It just when I realized that, it just blew my mind, especially with the synonym of Kingdom of Heaven,
Uh huh.
that it was actually Kingdom of Yue, and that heaven was Yue. That he's everywhere in everything, that our reality consists of his thought and his voice.
I know. That's amazing.
That's all of our reality is his thought and his voice. That's everything that is. That's so awesome. Oh my gosh. That's so reassuring.
Yeah.
Because if he loves you, I mean, I can't say if, since he loves you, and since he is everything that is, even outside of our universe, where can you go to get away from love? What can you possibly do to go outside of love? There's just no way.
Come to my house. Yeah, yeah.
But there's just even your house, everything. There's no way to get around it.
Yeah, right.
It's everywhere. Now, of course, we have the contrast so that we experience what is contrary to love. But even then, that's encapsulated in love. That only exists in love. That contrast.
Yeah, right.
So this growing period of contrast only exists in love. Love reigns supreme, absolutely supreme.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Oh my gosh.
I wonder if I could end this recording on that.
Sure.
Okay.